It's time for Wenatchee Panther Girls Bowling on the NCW Life Channel. Today, the Wenatchee Panthers take on the Eastmont Wildcats from Eastmont Lanes. High school sports on the NCW Life Channel is brought to you by the Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. TC Slingers, they'll place the material for you. Confluence Health, Wenatchee's premier treatment center. Les Schwab Tires in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee. The Windmill Restaurant in Wenatchee, and the Wenatchee Racket and Athletic Club. Now let's head to the alley alongside Paul Paiva. Here's NCW Life Sports Director Eric Granstrom.
Welcome to Eastmont Lanes here in East Wenatchee, Washington. And who would have thought that this would be the spot for the powerhouse in state bowling? Welcome inside to Eastmont Lanes. I'm Eric Granstrom along with Paul Paiva as we bring you the matchup of two undefeateds here between the Wenatchee Panthers and the Eastmont Wildcats. And Wenatchee, the home team here in this match today, Paul. Both teams are off to a great start. And we were talking before we went on the air. You're not surprised.
No, I'm not surprised. You talk about the presence and the coaching, the fact that you and I were talking about how some of the girls that were here last year, they graduated, they're gone. But the presence is still very strong with both these teams, and they know they got to win and they know they got to perform.
You've got the defending state champions in Eastmont. You've got the defending champions from 2 years ago in Wenatchee, and that powerhouse just continues here. What's the secret, Paul? You're around the bowlers, you're around their families. What's going on here in the water?
Well, number one, and we talked about this last year, is a lot of these girls bowl with each other on the travel leagues, on the regular leagues in the house. So it's a comfort thing, number one. Number two, they just like winning. They just like pulling out the big games and cheering. And that's what it's all about.
Both teams coming in undefeated, 6-0 overall, 5-0 in Big Nine play. Does this matter? Is this going to say who the better team is by winning this today?
They still should have one more matchup. This is their first meeting this season. So there's one more. I'd like to see it be a rubber match. I'd like to see them both pull out a win. We'll see what happens. But this one, yeah, there's a little bit on the line.
Oh, yeah.
There's a little bit on the line.
Yeah, the bragging, absolutely, because they practice here as well together all the time. We're going to talk to the head coaches for both Wenatchee and Eastmont as we continue here from Eastmont Lanes as we get ready for the battle of the Panthers and the Wildcats coming up next on the NCW Life Channel. Welcome back here to Eastmont Lanes as we get ready for this matchup between Eastmont and Wenatchee. Wenatchee, the home team here today, but we got to talk to the defending state champs first. Christy Bingy, now as head coach, taking over for Jeremy Andrews, who, by the way, is going to join us on our broadcast here in a little bit. Congratulations so far on the season. How's it been for you?
Thank you. Thank you. Challenging, but good. We've got a great freshman team coming up, and our JVs are improving, and our varsity has just come alive. Some of our juniors are really have hot hands this year, so it's been a good season so far.
I was wondering coming in our broadcast today, how in the world do you replace somebody like Cheyenne Greeting?
That's tough. That's very tough. However, Emily Montoya bowled a 268 yesterday,
yeah.
And I've got a junior that has a 193 average already, so I guess we'll cover it slowly.
Well, meanwhile, we've got two 5-0 teams here, 6-0 overall on the season. Jeff Levitt's head coach for Wenatchee. You guys have been just tearing it up as well, Jeff.
Yeah, I'd like to say that we drafted well. We lost a couple of good seniors, but we have a couple of really good freshmen that are very experienced, and so we've added them to the varsity. And I'd like to say also that we've actually drafted well with an assistant coach, Bill Herzog. He's outstanding, and so the girls are learning a ton, improving a lot. So it's really been a lot on the girls and on Bill Herzog.
I was talking to Paul Paiva here just in our pregame about the power belt of bowling here in the Wenatchee Valley. I mean, it's pretty incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. We have a lot of people that invest in these girls from the time they're 6 years old. And so really, I know I'm just standing on the shoulders of those men and women that are doing that. And so, you know, between the two schools, we really benefit from the knowledge and the dedication of coaches and parents in this area. It's been great.
Well, it's Wenatchee and Eastmont. They are friends other than today. Well, no, they're still friends, but they're going to have some fun out here, and we're going to watch it coming up next as we broadcast live from Eastmont Lanes on the NCW Life Channel. Welcome back once again here to Eastmont Lanes along with Paul Paiva. I'm Eric Granstrom on the NCW Life Channel as the Eastmont Lady Cats are being announced. And now the Wenatchee Panthers are starting lineups here on the broadcast. Let's go ahead and mention that. I should mention, too, that our interview with the coaches brought to you by TC Slingers, Rock, Bark, Sand, Soil. We place the material for you. And the starters here for Coach Christy Bingy, Riley Cox, a senior, Sky Wilson, a junior Alicia Hastings, also a senior Emily Montoya, and senior Becca Maines. Meanwhile, for the Wenatchee Panthers and Coach Jeff Levitt getting the start here in this first game will be freshman Kyla Hankins, Emily Groff, a junior, Hannah Johnson, a freshman, Jessica Holbrook, a junior, and Taylor Bitterman, a senior. So, Paul, let's talk about strategy when you announce your lineups. Is it you want to have your best bowler as your number 5 bowler, or how does that work? Because they have or does it matter?
It does matter. It's all about chemistry between the bowlers. So generally, when I set a lineup, you want we're human beings, so we tend to mimic what we see. So the way that I'm looking at the lineup for Eastmont would be that Riley probably has a really good release. She's a strong leadoff bowler. She's going to be in that number 1 spot. When you get down towards the bottom, of course, the anchor is the person that's going to hold their own, not be able to crack under the pressure of making sure that they finish out the games. You can kind of move these ladies around, the ones in the middle lineup, but they're specifically put there for a reason. Mm-hmm. We may not know that yet.
Sure.
But all these girls on both teams are strong bowlers.
Might they change the order for the Bakers then? Because I would assume that you want your strongest bowler as your 5th bowler, because in the 10th frame they've got a chance to pick up more points, right?
Absolutely. But, we got a lot of game to go. We got 2 games of regular, 2 games of Baker. There could be a substitute put in at any time.
Right.
They may see that somebody's doing well off than the others are under the condition, so they might move them into a different spot.
This is exciting. Of course, these programs now historic for the Wenatchee Valley. Girls bowling's been around for 4 or 5 years as a varsity sport in high school, and great that we've got the powerhouse right here in the Wenatchee Valley.
Absolutely. These girls, they love to have fun, number 1. Number 2, they love competitive bowling. You've got the beautiful lanes here at Eastmont Lanes. They're going to have a good time regardless, but they're here to bowl to win.
So the varsity will be on lanes 7 and 8, and I think the junior varsity will be on, where do they put them, 10 and 11? They move them over one more spot there. So now home team for this is Wenatchee. Then does Wenatchee roll first, or does Eastmont roll first? Or do they do a Rochambeau? What do they how do they figure that out?
I think more than anything, it's not really who goes first. It's who sets the pace.
Okay.
So as Kyla comes up to bowl, she's going to want to put that sucker right in the pocket.
Kyla Hankins up here for Wenatchee picks up 7 pins in her first ball as we're underway here at Eastmont Lanes in this matchup between Eastmont and Wenatchee. For the Wildcats, it's Riley Cox who also picks up 7. And we saw that in the couple of matches that we broadcast last year. It seemed, for whatever reason, that you had that a lot where the 2 lanes, you had the 2 bowlers almost getting mirror images of each other. Happenstance, I know, but...
Well, and, you've also got, they don't know what the condition is. They've only had 10 minutes of practice. The lanes can swing either way during practice. Right now, they're just looking for that sweet spot, put the ball, and once they become comfortable, then they're just going to start playing into that shot.
So Eastmont gets the early advantage here as Riley Cox picks up a spare and Kyla Hankins leaves an open frame. Freshman, we should mention, rolling here for the Wenatchee Panthers on varsity today. Emily Groff now with her first ball of the match and just misses, got 9 in her first ball. And then up for Eastmont is Sky Wilson, junior, trying to go Brooklyn, and she gets 9 as well. There's almost as much fun watching this for how they do on the lanes as the interactions that happen back by the hand dryer.
There's a lot of excitement right now. They've got the lights in front of them. They're playing to a really nice crowd today at Eastmont Lanes. So, you're going to see some electricity once they get settled down and start throwing good balls.
Both leaving the first frame open, the second bowlers for both teams, Sky Wilson and Emily Groff. Now Alicia Hastings will step up for Eastmont, and Hannah Johnson, another freshman in the lineup here for Wenatchee. And Hannah almost was able to get that pin to kick out of the off the side to the right there, but she picks up 9. And here we go with Alicia Hastings.
Playing deep.
And
that was a nice shot.
Strike for Alicia to start things off. So Eastmont with the slight advantage here in this first frame.
You know, you could literally say just watch any one of these girls, and at any given point they could get hot or get not.
Right.
But if you're looking for someone who's going to get hot quick, I've seen Alicia get hot really quick. Emma had a very interesting matchup on Tuesday where she scored really well. A lot of these girls wanting to put the ball in the pocket.
So a strike for Emily Montoya, and is it going to go? It will not, but close for Jessica Holbrook. And meanwhile, up for Eastmont, it's Becca Maines. Senior approaches, a little bit high on that head pin. Able to get enough to leave herself with a very makeable spare here coming up. Jessica Holbrook looking to pick up her spare on her first ball of this first game between Wenatchee and Eastmont. Nice spare there, nice pickup. Becca Maines looking for the spare. Got a good start, good ball.
Squeaked it out.
So Eastmont, 2 strikes, 2 spares, and an open frame in their first.
Oh.
And almost there for Taylor Bitterman. Taylor, very experienced bowler, coming back for her senior year at Wenatchee High School, and she did well in league last year, did well at state representing Wenatchee High School. Taylor trying to pick up. That's a tough pickup for a right-handed bowler. She got it, no problem.
A lot of poise, a lot of stability out on the approaches today. They're throwing a really good ball. A couple of opens, but they'll sew those up.
So now they switch lanes, and as we've talked about in the past, from one lane to the next, like you said, only 10 minutes of warm-up. And leaner, is it going to go? It will not for the freshman, Kyla Hankins. But she picks up 9 in that first ball, and Riley Cox with a strike. And Eastmont's feeling it early here at Eastmont Lanes as they cross over to work in lane number 8. And an open frame again for Kyla Hankins. Appreciate you joining us here on our broadcast today on the NCW Life Channel, brought to you by Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Take a walk on the wild side.
Sky getting a little bit far out there.
Yeah, looked like the release just a little off kilter for her on that shot. Meanwhile, again going to the weak side with that right-handed ball was Emily Groff, and 7 in her first ball. Sky Wilson with a lot to choose from here, and much better release that time. And was able to finish with 5 in that second ball. So an open frame for Eastmont after a strike by Riley Cox here in the second frame of this first game. And just off the mark there for Emily Groff in her second ball. So she's still trying to find her game right now. Early in the season, both coaches were able to provide us as Alicia Hastings follows up her first strike with a second strike. But gave us their early averages here so far for both teams and the individuals. Tough split there for
washout for
Hannah Johnson. For Wenatchee, the Panthers with Hannah Johnson with a 169 average so far in the early season. Emily Montoya, a little off the head pin there. She picks up 7 in her first ball. And Hannah Johnson trying to pick up the washout here. Got the head pin, but a little bit too far over, so she gets 2 open frame for Hannah. Hannah, I mentioned 169 average, 162 average for Jessica Holbrook, 163 average for Taylor Bitterman, 159 for Kayla Hankins, and 150 for Emily Groff. And Emily Montoya, open frame after a strike in the first, 7-2 here in the second frame. That one went a little wide, and how about that? Jessica Holbrook going around the horn on that one. That's a beautiful ball. I didn't know if it was going to come back or not, but sure enough, it did. For Eastmont with a strike, Rebecca Maines. So they finish up their second frame on a positive note. Taylor Bitterman.
Bit of a split there. That's the 4-10.
That's a little more makeable than some of the others we've seen, that's for sure. So you want to hit just left of center on the number 4 pin here, Paul?
You want to just pretend you're nailing a 7 pin.
And,
just a little too much 7.
We have, by the way, let me have you describe what's happening out there real quick, Paul, as I make a little adjustment on the microphone here.
All right.
As we welcome in
Kyla Hankins,
Jeremy Anders,
slightly Brooklyn,
the
leaving 3.
Former head coach for Eastmont. Jeremy, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Eric.
Talk about the girls. You had a big hand in these girls getting to this point, state championship last year. How are they looking so far?
Looking pretty good earlier in this match. Both teams are really good. Wenatchee got some really good young bowlers that came up this year, and both teams are definitely the class of the Big Nine once again, like they have been the last couple of years. And Wenatchee's got some experience there that has helped them, but Eastmont bouncing back from the state championship is pretty big, and they've carried the momentum this year. Christy's really done a great job with kind of continuing what we've done the first 4 years, and there's a good group of girls there, and a couple seniors who have been really strong early on in their career, and now they're senior year. There's time to shine, and you're kind of showing it here. Plus Alicia Hastings, she's kind of been lights out this year. I mean, she's within the top averages right now in the league, and been really strong the whole entire time. And you see here starting off with 2 strikes. That's pretty good early in this match.
Absolutely. Talk about. I asked Christy this. I'll ask you this, since the pressure's not on you, it's on her. But how in the world do you replace somebody like Cheyenne Greening?
It's really tough. I mean, Cheyenne's one of the best bowlers the state's ever seen, not just Eastmont. And it's really tough to replace. And you're not going to replace somebody right away with that. But I think that Cheyenne left an impression on a lot of girls here that she was a really good bowler. But I mean, Emily Montoya's had a great year. A lot of these girls have practiced. I mean, Alicia Hastings from where she was a year ago. I mean, she really kicked up second half of last season. She's stepped up quite a bit. Becca Maines, and then we have Sky Wilson, who joined on the team this year, who was a basketball player the first couple of years, but was always a great bowler. And we have some young kids over there that on the JV team that once again there's 7 girls that can bowl varsity, 8 girls that can bowl varsity this year, and it's a really deep team, which that helps out to replace somebody like Cheyenne.
A little different in recruiting people for your team. You have the other traditional sports. You're in the hallway trying to get them. Here for bowling, you come to the alley, don't you?
Yeah, you kind of know usually like we knew last year that Wenatchee was going to get 2 really good freshmen coming up with Kyla and Hannah, and so you kind of know at least a couple years down the line what you have there. But last year we had 3 girls on that state championship team that had never touched a ball before they started their freshman year. And so that's the thing is, if you can coach them right and develop them, you can get a state championship out of that. And so that started with Christy. I mean, she was really good working with our young talent the last couple of years. So it's a little tougher this year. She's by herself, so there's not 2 of her to be spread herself out. But if you look down there's a lot of young girls who are coming up who are just freshmen and showing a lot of potential early on.
And the recipe for getting a state championship, now that you have that in your belt, it's about team top to bottom, isn't it? It's not just about one player.
No, it's team tough, team strong, team commitment, and being so good as a team. They're very close as a team and keeping that closeness and supporting them. I mean, if you saw us last year, we never backed down the state tournament. It was just strong the whole entire way through. And we have little things that they still do that are kind of quirky that a lot of other teams don't do. And we won't let them know our trade secrets, but little fun things that we do that kind of keeps us together and close, and may not affect the bowling, but definitely keeps the team close together as one unit.
You were telling me before we went on the air today that you are still in contact with Christy about how the girls are doing and apply a little strategy.
Yeah, I actually went down to the first the invitation at Moses Lake with them and kind of hanging out the first week for him. I was trying to help out more than I could with my new job. It was kind of tough to be here as often as I wanted to, but me and Christy still bounce ideas off her, and she's done a great job, and it's just nice to have somebody to bounce if you have an idea. What should we do here, there, stuff like that, and I check in after every match to see what the scores are. I mean, I'm still pretty close to a lot of the girls and a lot of and Christy, so it's still kind of something to keep close to me.
Well, I'm sure the girls love seeing you out here whenever you can have the opportunity. So I know you're busy. You got the little one here too. Where is he? He's on he's on the counter. Okay, good. Well, Jeremy, thanks for taking the time to join us, and good luck. What's next for you now?
I just work a lot in the Seattle area. I travel a lot and announce races now full time. So I just got back from Florida, going down to California next month. Take 2 weeks off for Christmas, which will be nice to be back when actually for 2 straight weeks.
Well, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Eric.
You bet. Jeremy Anders joining us here. Meanwhile, Paul, what's been happening? I haven't been watching so much of the action here.
It's been pretty good. We haven't really had anybody shine in the third frame other than Taylor Bitterman had a strike. The rest of the girls have been struggling. It looks like the oil is changing just a little bit because I've started to see some splits down there.
As we are now through 3 frames, heading into the 4th. And up for Wenatchee, Kyla Hankins.
Kind of found a little groove all of a sudden.
A couple of spares in a row here in the 3rd and 4th frame. Meanwhile, tough split trying to pick up. How about that? Nice pickup for Riley Cox coming through with the spare.
That's the one that Becca left last frame. She almost got it too, but Riley made that little tiny switch and moved over and let that 5 slide over, take out that 10 pin.
Emily Groff with a 9 in her first to roll. And here, let me trade you pens back. Yeah. Got my lucky pen there. And, almost a split, but able to coax the left side down there. So Sky Wilson for Eastmont will have a single pin to pick up. And meanwhile, Emily Groff trying to pick up her final pin, and she does.
Right now we've got a difference of maybe about 40 pins right now, but it's pretty evenly matched here. Eastmont does have the advantage, but Wenatchee has got a bunch of spares coming up in the rest of this frame.
There's an open frame there for Sky Wilson. And 8 in the first roll for Hannah Johnson here in the 4th frame. Appreciate you joining us on the NCW Life Channel for bowling action here at Eastmont Lanes. Brought to you in part by the Windmill Restaurant and the Wenatchee Racket and Athletic Club.
Like we said, there's about a 30-pin lead here for Eastmont, but as we round the corner from the 3rd frame to the 4th frame, you're going to see Wenatchee catch right back up with them. It's going to be a heads-up probably towards the end of this game.
And another spare picked up by the Panthers here as Hannah Johnson picks up a couple of pins remaining. That going back to, 2nd roller in the 3rd frame. Been cleaning things up here for, as you were mentioning, for the Wenatchee Panthers.
Yeah, and you may see Jessica sneak right in here with another strike. She had one back on this lane 2 frames ago.
So Jessica Holbrook stepping up now for Wenatchee on lane number 7.
There it is.
There it is. Nice call, Paul. Well, she has certainly found a groove.
Yes, she has.
In lane 7.
Spare strike. That's what we call a Dutch. If she can go all the way through, it equals a 200 all the way at the end. Spare strike is for the last 4 frames.
Becca Maines working on an open frame in the 3rd. Little light on the head pin there. 8 in her first ball. And Taylor Bitterman now with her first ball in the 4th. And it's a strike, 2 strikes in a row for Taylor.
Here comes Wenatchee.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking at about a 10-pin difference right now as we lead into the 5th.
Becca Maines with one more ball here to finish up the 4th. Again, 2 games and then 2 Bakers. And we'll describe the Bakers. And tough one, 2 in a row for Becca. So we head to the 5th. Paul, for those who haven't watched bowling on television before, and if you watch, your Saturday bowling on ESPN, a little different with a Baker format. Can you describe that for our listeners or for our viewers?
It's basically pretty easy. What you're going to see is the girls are going to be sharing a game, There's 5 on a roster, so each of the bowlers is going to get 2 frames. So the leadoff bowler is going to take the first frame and the 6th frame, and so on and so forth all the way down the line, including the anchor, which will take the 5th frame and the 10th frame. And they're going to try to make a game out of it. One team versus the other team, sharing. Looks like we've had a substitution already.
Okay.
Daylin Thomas coming in for
Sky Wilson.
Sky Wilson.
So Daylin comes right in off of the JV lane and rolls a strike.
And as you can see, you know, Sky having a little bit of problems there back in the first 4 frames. Wasn't able to clean up, so they brought over someone who was doing well, and we'll see how well Daylin finishes out this game.
Is there a limit to the number of substitutions you can have?
You can only change out once per game.
Okay.
They'll share the game, so the numbers still add up. But because Daylin is taking the majority of the rest of the game, it'll actually go her score. That would be her score for the rest of the game.
And a nice pickup there for Alicia Hastings. Picks up her spare.
And here comes East Wenatchee coming right back at it with 2 strikes and a spare.
I want to make sure I'm getting the right scores here. Now Hannah Johnson up, so Emily Groth picked up 1 of the 3 remaining. We'll have to get a reset, I think, on 8. Or
Emily Montoya coming up. Little Brooklyn and covered.
Nice. Emily with a couple of strikes in a row. Give her 3 out of 5 frames with crossbars, and a nice pickup there for Hannah Johnson. Next up for Eastmont will be Becca Maines and Jessica Holbrook, the number 4 roller for Wenatchee. Becca.
A little light. You get super anxious when you're up there when you see the rest of your team bowling spares and strikes. It can be a lot of pressure to try to get that located into the pocket. But she ran that just a little bit fast on that last ball.
So Becca trying to find the pocket here to pick up the remaining 5 pins here on lane 7 in this first game.
Jessica's got that washout. It would be a split, but that head pin negates the fact that it's a split. Anytime the 1 pin is in there.
Nice pickup.
Nice.
Wow. That's how you draw that up, right, Paul?
That's one way. There's a couple other ways, but that's the preferred way to pick it up.
Taylor Bitterman, final bowler here in the 5th lane.
Bitterman working on a double. She wants to see it turkey.
Off the television frame, she was looking at her ball. Was she getting a little luck on the ball before she throws this? Possibly.
Oh, just a little bit light.
Stayed out there. So 7 for Taylor.
And again, you know, we're looking at 2 or 3 points, 2 or 3 pins difference right now in
That's incredible.
the 5th frame.
The ebb and flow of these games is interesting to watch.
It is. It's really hard. We were talking the other day about competition, and it's almost like you step up when you know that you're bowling against someone really good.
Right.
But when both teams are struggling, it's because they're not trusting themselves,
Sure.
and they want to outbowl the other team.
Right.
And I was talking to one of my kids about how you should never worry about perfection when you're bowling. You don't go up there and say, I really need this strike. No, you just really need to throw a really good ball.
Right.
Doesn't have to be perfect, just a nice ball.
Kyla Hankins with a strike to start off the 6th for Wenatchee. Meanwhile, 9 for Riley Cox.
That's close.
That was close for Emily Groth. Almost got that pin to wiggle up out of the lane on the right side. And not quite enough action there. Let's see if she can pick up the spare.
It's close.
Hold on.
Hang on.
Got it.
Just
Just at the last second. Riley Cox, meanwhile, will try to pick up her spare on lane 8. Good ball.
And believe it or not, every one of these spares is important because there is a very small gap between taking the lead and losing the lead right now. Just so close.
Wow, look at that strike for Hannah Johnson, the freshman coming through. So,
And she's been clean for quite a while.
yeah, she's since the second frame.
Yeah.
So 4 in a row where she's been clean. Meanwhile, Daylin Thomas, 7 on her first ball as she's a substitute here in this first game. Jessica Holbrook trying
This is
to
her lane.
creep it around again.
Oh.
Found the pocket, but just a little light in
Just
the
a
pocket.
little late.
Got 9. Meanwhile, Daylin Thomas, after coming in as a replacement, got a strike at her first ball, trying to keep it clean here, and just a little bit too far over. Got 2 of the 3 remaining. Jessica Holbrook. Gonna get that bite.
Oh, thought she had
so
it.
close.
Snuck right around it.
So an open for Jessica Holbrook. Maybe that opens the door here for Eastmont. Alicia Hastings just outside the pocket with that ball. You were talking about it, Paul. Just since the start of this game, looks like the lanes are both changing just a little bit here with their, with their oil.
Yeah. And a little bit of the fact that the ladies, they want to get that ball out to the corner, but it's just not biting really hard yet. But it will be. Give them another half a game and it'll start.
Alicia Hastings trying to pick up her spare. Didn't quite get enough of that, so she's open.
It's the spare game tonight.
It is.
These ladies can pick up their spares. They're going to get a win here.
Taylor Britteman for Wenatchee. Started it way out there, a little bit too far. So here we go. We've got 2 more rollers for Eastmont to finish up the 6th. Emily Montoya working on trying to get a turkey here.
Oh, yeah.
As she approaches. Well, she's got a nice soft delivery.
Oh.
7. Well, she's been good and clean with those strikes the last 2 frames in a row. She has not been able to pick up a spare. It's either been strike or open for Emily Montoya.
I've had those days. Striker open, striker open.
Yeah.
But just put the focus together, relax a little bit. Come right through the ball.
Good looking ball.
Got it.
And got it. Nice spare for Emily Montoya. As you said, Paul, I mean, we've been within 10 pins just about throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, and it's really rough for now. You know, it's been going from left side to right side, back and forth between these 2 teams. Right now it looks like because of all the strikes and spares that Wenatchee had, they have just a slight advantage. It's not showing up there on the numbers because we've only got 8 pins difference, but the spares and strikes don't lie.
Goodness.
This is a rough one.
Becca Maines, it's been a challenge, but still has that smile on her face.
That is the 7, 9, 10. That is not an easy spare.
It's almost a picket fence. What do you call that?
That's a whole lot of nothing is what it is.
Okay.
You know, she has to put that between the 9 and the 10, but she's got to hit more solid on the 10 to kick that 9 over towards the 7. That was close.
That was close. Good effort. So we're through 6 frames here at Eastmont Lanes in this first game. And as they wrap it up, look at that. We're tied at 440 apiece. Incredible. Well, the 2 teams come in undefeated, 5-0 in Big 9 play.
There's a nice little cover from the Brooklyn side.
Riley Cox, who's been, well, she's clean throughout her entire game so far. Meanwhile, Kyla Hankins with 7 in her first ball here in the 7th. Daylin Thomas came in as a replacement for Sky Wilson. And Daylin, just a freshman, by the way.
And I see a smile on her face, so you know she's having a good time.
No,
wow, that
she
ball
got the
took
broke
off at the end.
Will that work?
Well, Like we said, back and forth battle. Now it looks like East Wenatchee's trying to make a run on 2 strikes in a row.
Alicia Hastings, see if she can keep it going. Heavy ball here. Oh, just did not have the bite there down the alley. And both bowlers on both lanes end up with the mirror image of each other, picking up 6 in the first ball. And now Alicia Hastings will try to pick this up. Better way to pick that up is go left of that front pin.
Yeah,
Paul.
you just want to go right down the
Just
barrel.
like she just did.
Good philosophy is you always let the ball do all the work. You never want to make a pin hit another pin. Some of the splits you got to do it, but if they're all grouped together, you want to make the ball do all the work. Emily's getting up there. Is that
Hannah Johnson
Hannah Johnson?
on the right.
Almost a split, but
9. And Emily Montoya. Clean in 3 straight. Oh,
going
good.
Brooklyn.
9 for her. And again, mirror images on either side of the ledger here. And the roll for Hannah Johnson. Picking up that.
You know, it's
pin.
really hard. If these two teams are trying to find the right location, and they're just trying to outshoot the other team, and sometimes that can cause problems because you think, well, I need to move here, or I need to move here, and suddenly you over move.
Right. So the key is just concentrate on your own game. Don't worry about what's happening in the lane next to you.
And that's hard to do when you're constantly looking up and you're constantly seeing how close this match is. All these girls want to be the star. They want to be the one to make that beautiful shot, help out their team.
Becca Maines working on 4 opens in a row here, trying to find her groove, and there it is. With a big strike here to wrap up the 7th. So 3 out of 5 bowlers for Eastmont. Strike in the 7th. Now Jessica Holbrook trying to pick up at least 2. She does that. But an open frame for Jessica. And Taylor Bitterman will step up here for Wenatchee as we're in the 7th frame of this first game. As we wait on the ball for Taylor, just a 6-pin differential.
A little high.
8 in her first ball.
Yeah, there is not much going on here between these two teams as far as who's going to pull away yet. Again, like we said, back and forth, back and forth. All of a sudden, Eastmont now has the advantage, but only by 30, 40 pins on the screen.
Final ball here in the 7th for Taylor Bitterman. Nice job picking up that spare. And we'll head to the 8th. And yeah, 4-pin differential. Where we sit right now, of course, that's without adding in the extras. As Kyla Hankins, the freshman, working on an open frame from the 7th, a little high on the head pin there.
She probably liked that reaction, but it was a little over.
Riley Cox, meanwhile, picks up 9. Yeah, I kind of like your approach here, talking about having the ball do the work and not depend on a pin, because how many times you see that where you got a ball that you think is just perfectly right in the pocket.
Oh, yeah.
And the pins don't react.
Nope. Yeah, it's all about angles and making sure that that ball flows through the pocket evenly. And just because you hit a certain spot, shouldn't always just think that you're going to get that strike.
7 in the first ball for Emily Groff for Wenatchee here on the left lane, lane 7 here at Eastmont Lanes. Stepping up on lane 8 is the freshman Daylin Thomas. Little over release there.
Far, Brooklyn.
Yep.
Not a bad count, though.
She got 5. And a nice pick up there for Emily.
You know, as we were waiting for Daylin to throw her ball, did you see how quiet it got?
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's so close that all these parents and all these fans up here, they don't know what's going to happen because we got 3 frames left to go.
Right. everybody's trying to do the math right now, and it's, yeah, you can't.
Nope.
Hannah Johnson with the strike, and Daylin got 2. Was it 2 of the 5 or 3 of the 5?
3 of the 5.
3 of the 5, okay. So an open frame for Daylin. Meanwhile, Alicia Hastings up next for Eastmont, and it's Jessica Holbrook for Wenatchee.
Little wide.
Little wide on that one. 6 in her first ball. Yeah, and we should mention that too. We've got a good contingent of folks here watching this one. Parents and relatives all around cheering it on. Alicia Hastings with 8 in her first ball here in the 8th for Eastmont High School. Jessica Holbrook trying to find the magic here.
That should cover.
Good looking ball. Oh, and then a bit
just went
hard.
past it.
And we've seen that on lane 7. You get outside on those boards just outside the right side of the pocket, and it hangs out there.
It
But
does.
if you come one board over,
Yep.
it seems it catches. Here's Taylor Bitterman. Ouch. So the lane, the ball's not reacting necessarily how the girls are wanting them to.
Yeah,
this
they're
point.
kind of fighting the lanes today.
Alicia Hastings with an open frame. 8 and 1. Here's Emily Montoya. Tried to go
Close.
Brooklyn again. Got 9. Taylor, well, we've seen this picked up already once in this game. See if she can get it here. Kind of a little hit.
Stuck on that.
Yeah. I thought she almost maybe fouled on that. She looked awfully close to the line with her left foot on that delivery. She gets 1. So an open frame for Wenatchee, so it's anybody's game here. One more ball for Emily Montoya. I think Eastmont will have the lead as we head out of the 8th. And Montoya,
Oh.
if you tried to miss on the right, you couldn't do it. Emily just scoots the ball past on the right there. So an open frame for Emily. And the final ball here in the 8th belongs to Becca Maines.
Yeah, if she can double up on this, it'll give them a pretty good lead going into the 9th. But right now, there's not really much difference whatsoever. But we need this double from Becca.
Try to go Brooklyn there. Got some good pin action. Dropped 9. So Becca looking at staying clean here in the 8th for Eastmont.
We're rounding into the magic frame, as I call it, the 9th frame. That's always your setup for the 10th frame. So these girls are looking to get their spares, get their strikes in the 9th, help propel them to a possible win in the 10th frame for one of these teams.
Becca with a good cover here. Nice job. So she set up the setup for herself. Strike spare heading into the 9th for Becca Maines. And we are at a 19 pin differential in the match. 590 for Eastmont, 571 for Wenatchee.
Oh, wow.
So close for Riley Cox.
Solid 8-pin on a really nice ball.
And I'll mention this again, Riley Cox clean throughout the game here. So she's working on a fine opener, and a strike there for Kyla Hankins. So here we go, right down the stretch here in the first game. Riley Cox trying to remain clean here in the 9th,
Oh, yeah.
and she does. Nice game setting up here for Riley Cox. Meanwhile, it's Emily Groff with her first ball in the 9th. 8. She's working on a spare from the 8th here in the 9th. Daylin Thomas talked to her dad Bill here before the game, and he said he was pretty excited that she's getting a chance to roll for the varsity, and she picks up a
nice
strike.
shot. Both teams just trying to dig out the 9th frame, trying to make sure that they stay in this one to the very end.
And open for Emily Groff. Started that ball a little bit too far left, and it stayed left. And now Alicia Hastings working off an open in the 8th. Alicia
pretty
in
close.
the pocket, and
Oh,
there it
yeah.
is.
Hannah's working on that strike last frame.
Hannah Johnson going the opposite side, leaves a couple standing.
That little baby split. Not the easiest thing to pick up. It's actually my worst split to pick up. I can go right between those two on lane 8 and not touch
a single one. Yeah. Emily Montoya for Eastmont. Open her last frame, and even with the body English, can't quite get it to coax it over. Meanwhile, the spare attempt for Hannah Johnson. No.
Got one of them.
Emily Montoya, the slightest of our bowlers here between the two teams, yet still packs a lot of punch. Good form, good pickup.
Oh, wow.
So her setup frame, very nice. In fact, Eastmont setting themselves up very well here in the 9th frame. And a little wide out of the pocket for Jessica Holbrook with 8. Becca Maines, a chance to make this a very nice 9th frame for the Eastmont Wildcats. Good looking ball. Ooh.
Just wrapped right behind that one. Leaving a pretty wide split. That's the 2-4-10.
Jessica Holbrook with a nice pickup. So a couple of opens, couple of strike and a spare for Wenatchee here in the 9th. Eastmont, spare, strike, spare, and open.
Oh,
That was a nice attempt to almost
try.
hit that 10 pin. But she does get one as they'll head to the 10th. Taylor Britterman, meanwhile, with a
spin it. Oh,
so close. I was trying to will it over for her.
looked like it moved like 2 inches over, too.
It did. It did. It spun about, I don't know, at least a half a spin on the pin.
Oh, we had to make a correction. Even the machine thought it was a strike.
All
right, we got the
Oh,
adjustment.
we got it here. Okay. Override on the scoring system. Up above the heads of the bowlers.
Oh, yeah, no matter what the machine says,
Yeah.
you got to put down what it is.
Right. And you'll see a C9 on the screen there, so a correction 9 on the first ball for Taylor Bitterman. Trying to pick up her spare. Keep Wenatchee in it.
Close. Oh, and that's going to be a 0 because that came out of the gutter right before it clipped that pin.
So close. So close. Too bad for Taylor Bitterman. So here we go to the 10th, and Eastmont up by 19 pins still with counting here as we head to the 10th. Trying to go Brooklyn.
Almost.
For Kyla Hankins. 8 in her first ball?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and Eastmont, it's got quite a bit of advantage right now. They're looking at 4 out of their 5 had spares or strikes, so they had closed frames.
Right.
So that's going to leapfrog them.
And Riley
really
Cox.
good.
Oh, how about
almost
that
slid
slide?
that one.
Strange pin action on that one. She gets 9 in her first ball, and a spare there for Kyla Hankins. Nice job. So she'll get one more ball here in the 10th.
And Riley, all she needs to do is get this spare, and she's got her 10 clean, including that split she had back in the 4th.
How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice job.
There's a
Just
clean
very
game.
consistent. Very consistent for Riley Cox. One more ball to go for her in the 10th. Meanwhile, the final ball for Kyla Hankins. Looking good. And a
Oh,
strike.
that's a beautiful ball.
Nice. Nice way to finish for Kyla Hankins for the Wenatchee Panthers. So she'll finish with a 152 in her first game here today. Eastmont shuffling bowlers. Now it's Daylin Thomas, I believe.
Oh, Riley's got to get her last
Oh, Riley's,
shot in.
that's right. One more
There it
ball
is,
for Riley.
right
Almost
there.
a strike, but a 9 And how about that
195.
game for Riley Thomas?
The 195 for Riley Cox there.
Riley Cox, yeah, said Thomas. Emily Groth, meanwhile, for Wenatchee with a split. Tough pickup, but it's manageable. We'll see if she
Looks
can
good.
do it.
Oh, it
just
tailed
hooked.
just a little bit.
So she gets 2 of the 4, so an open for Emily here in her 10th. So Emily finishes with a 107. Meanwhile, Daylin Thomas.
A little far out.
A little far out on that one. 6 in her first ball here in the 10th. Hannah Johnson, meanwhile, adjusting her grip. Ready to approach for her first ball in the 10th here in the first game. A little high on that head pin again. Daylin Thomas, kind of a tough pickup here, and she got it. Nice spare for Daylin.
Those are never easy, but it was the meat of the pocket that she had left, so she just had to pretend they were all still there and throw a good ball.
Nice pickup there for Hannah Johnson, so she'll get one more ball here in the 10th for Wenatchee. Daylin Thomas with a number of pins here can almost just wrap this up for Eastmont. She gets 8. So between she and Sky Wilson, the combined total is a 126. Yep. And 8 pins for Hannah Johnson in her final ball. And so Johnson with a 166 for Wenatchee.
And Eastmont's not out of it yet. They still got to finish strong. You got 3 bowlers left.
They're going to
wait
wait
to finish out
for Alicia Hastings to roll here. Alicia's first ball looking
ball.
good. Strike. Puts the pressure square on Jessica Holbrook. Say, okay. See what you can bring here. Jessica coming out again,
close.
coming back. Oh, split. Alicia Hastings with her second ball here in the 10th. She's had a good game and
just a
not the
little
head
light.
pin, but just a little light on that. So a 7. One more ball to come for Alicia Hastings here in the 10th. Jessica Holbrook. Well, you want to get 2 and get lucky. She
Gonna
got
get
the
2.
2. So for Jessica Holbrook, a 151. And not a pickup there for Alicia Hastings. She got 1.
Good game, 174 for Alicia.
74 for Alicia. Emily Montoya next up for Eastmont. We'll see if Taylor Bitterman waits or Taylor Bitterman says, no, let's go ahead and roll this. Taylor with an open ball in the 9th.
It's a good
Her
ball.
first ball in the 10th.
Oh,
Got the pocket, just didn't get the carom. 8 in her first roll. Emily Montoya with the approach. And she got it.
kick too.
Thought she would have been a little high on the head pin there, but got just enough of it. Stayed a little on the right side. Happy about that one. And now the spare. Nice job for Taylor Bitterman. And so she'll get one more ball here in the 10th. But as we sit right now, it's a, 46 pin differential. Eastmont in front. Emily Montoya working on a strike. Going Brooklyn. 8. Taylor Bitterman with one more ball. Nope, just didn't get that bite. 7 in her final ball. So Taylor with a 147. Emily Montoya trying to pick up that spare. Got one of the 2. So Montoya,
160.
160. And as we sit, Eastmont's going to win this first game, leading right now. And of course, as you mentioned, Paul, I mean, it's still got to pick up as many pins as you can here because it's total pin count.
Oh yeah.
For the match.
Yeah, you want to capitalize on that and make sure you dig out as many points as you can because we got a whole nother game to go.
So here's the first ball for Becca Maines. Almost got that to slide over. 9 in her first ball. Working off an open frame in the 9th is Becca Maines, senior for the Eastmont Wildcats.
A lot of open frames. A lot of open frames today.
Well, they're rolling in front of friends and family, rolling in front of each other, and it counts. It's not just practice.
And that's going to be a
an
0
open.
on that one. And that'll end it. It's going to be
What's her
723 to a 783.
Let's see. I don't see Becca's final score up there
Well,
yet.
it posted a spare, but they're going to have to change it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because that came out of the gutter
Okay.
right at the end.
So let's see what the final is for Becca and the final totals. So it is a 723 for Wenatchee.
And 783.
783 for
Becca finishes
Eastmont
with a 128.
128 for Becca Maines. So Eastmont takes the first game here today by 60 pins. We will take a break and come back for game number 2 coming up from Eastmont Lanes. It's Eastmont and Wenatchee on the way next on the NCW Life Channel. Well, here we go to game 2, and it is Kyla Hankins that starts things off here for the Wenatchee Panthers. And just like that,
Nice ball.
a strike to start for Wenatchee, making the early statement here. And Coach Jeff Levitt telling us that he did have a substitution in that first game that I didn't catch. But we'll get to that in a moment. And we're already to the second bowler here, and that's Emily Groff. And a 7 for Emily. That is Emily, right?
Yeah, that's Emily.
Okay. So a split for Emily here to start her first ball of the second game, after Eastmont was able to knock off Wenatchee in the first, 783 to 723. And now the attempt here on the second ball.
Oh,
and
that
a
was close.
Nice try by Emily. Meanwhile, still waiting for the first bowler to go for Eastmont. Kind of a little unusual that we got two frames in for Wenatchee. Working on the third here as Hannah Johnson steps up. And how about that for a strike?
I think Riley is doing something to her ball real quick. She didn't feel that the thumb was right.
Okay. So Hannah Johnson picks up a strike for Wenatchee. That goes now to Jessica Holbrook.
Certainly don't want to change too much for Riley since she had that clean game.
Yeah, no kidding.
Last game.
A little bit high on the head pin there and a split. 6 on the first ball for Jessica Holbrook. And oh, ouch. Riley Cox starts with a split.
You know, oftentimes you think that you just throw in the same spot, but we just went through 5 girls, you know, before Riley got up here. Lanes can shift a little bit. You think, maybe the ball will do this, maybe the ball will do that, but it's one of those things where you just try to get as many as you can, shake it off.
Yeah.
It's just the first frame. Got a lot of game to go.
So here comes Jessica Holbrook trying to pick up what she can on her second ball. And she's got
close.
2. Oh, how about that pickup there?
That was
wow.
Nice.
That's practice,
Oh, yeah.
isn't it?
And trusting your ball.
Right.
Knowing it's going to do what it's going to do.
Ooh, Daylin Thomas with 9 in her first ball here in game number 2 at Eastmont Lanes, along with Paul Paiva. I'm Eric Grandstrom on the NCW Life Channel. Taylor Bitterman with a split. Meanwhile, Daylin Thomas trying to pick up hers. No, left it open. Alicia Hastings will be up next here for Eastmont after she rolled a 174 in her opening game here this afternoon at Eastmont Lanes.
I think those girls at Eastmont are really proud that they won the first game. They just need to stick it out for the second if they plan to win. They got 2 open so far.
Yeah, kind of a rocky start. Let's see what Alicia Hastings is able to do outside the pocket. 7 in her first ball. And Paul, we had, what, I don't know, 5-10 minutes in between the games, if that. Do the lanes, can they dry out a little bit? I mean, you got nothing happening on
Yeah,
them.
nothing really noticeable is going to happen. Probably just a little bit of the fact that they just got done. Dorfin's running a little high.
Sure.
You know, excited that somebody won. Not so excited that somebody lost. But
Yeah, you know, you get a lot of high fives and you got thank yous and good jobs and pat on the backs, and then you got to go back out there and try to resume what you were doing before, or maybe get better. You know, I didn't have such a good game. I need to find a better way to bowl, and those little decisions affect every single throw.
Well, meanwhile, 3 open frames here for Eastmont in their first frame of the second game. Emily Montoya going to try to change that attitude right here. The 4th bowler for Eastmont in this first lane of the second game. There we go. So she snapped the string there for Eastmont, and now Becca Main's going to try to continue suit.
And she's going to go back and she's going to hype everybody up and get them back on board and be positive.
Yeah, I did think it was interesting. Eastmont, the whole varsity team kind of disappeared in between the games there, went and had to do, you know, restroom or whatever. Wenatchee stayed right there and was eager to get going with his second game. And there's an 8 for Becca Baines in her first ball here in the first. Final roller to go here at Eastmont Lanes.
Well, you know, it's just like a touchdown celebration. You know, you want to you want to cheer on your team and help out, but you got to come back and you got to focus and you got to know that there's still a whole nother game to go.
Well, and Dan Kuntz, our line producer and cameraman here today, we were talking about it beforehand, and this is an unusual sport where, you know, unlike anything else in high school, and a nice pickup there by Becca Baines, where the girls are, you know, chewing on a piece of candy while they're, you know, in between balls and things like that. You get to go actually say hi to mom and dad in between games. No other sport you get to do that. You kind of wave at them up in the stands, you know, that type of thing. But no other sport can you do that.
Well, and you know, the great thing about bowling in general is there's no other sport like it. I mean, where else can you know, have a drink in your hand and eat some fried foods and then just go back to, you know, to performance.
Nice strike there.
It's one of those unusual sports that you don't need the right kind of weather. You don't need, you know, athleticism is a plus, but not necessarily necessary.
Right. A nice pickup there for Riley Cox, and a strike by Kyla Hankins. So Wenatchee's come right out here, kind of served notice in this second game so far. And there's another pocket fine for Wenatchee, and 9 pins go tumbling down for Emily Groff. See if Emily can get a spare here. She's kind of had a little rough go of it so far today for the Wenatchee Panthers. Daylin Thomas, the freshman, now stepping up for Eastmont.
Just going to go way Brooklyn.
Little misrelease there. 8 pins in her first ball.
Still a good count.
Absolutely.
She's got to get her spares.
And here comes Emily Groff with her attempt.
Got this one.
Oh, there we go. Nice job. She was doing a little talking to that ball as it was going down the lane, too. Say, stay, stay, stay. And here comes the attempt and a nice pickup on the late action there for Daylin Thomas. She's working on a spare here in the second. Hannah Johnson now stepping up for Wenatchee. Looking good.
Oh,
how about that? So Hannah Johnson and Kyla Hankins both starting this second game out with strikes in the first 2 frames. Alicia Hastings with the answer.
Oh,
yes.
You know, we were talking about, you know,
getting solidified and finding that little spot and getting warmed up and getting the feeling going. I think there's a couple of girls out there are starting to really feel the way the lanes are moving. Emily showed a little bit of it last game.
Jessica Holbrook with 9 and her first ball. Here comes Emily Montoya. Such a smooth release.
Oh, a little high, but yep, no split. Absolutely. She's safe.
She's fun to watch. Smallest down one out there, but with the biggest reaction.
Biggest numbers, too. She just had a really awesome game Tuesday where she went 7 strikes in a row, had a total of 9 in a game for a 268.
That's incredible. Now, they mentioned here, as she picks up the spare, nice job by Emily Montoya, her name on the board. What does that mean, name on the board?
Well, we have a recognition board over on the far side, over behind, next to lanes 1 and 2 over there, where we put up all the high recognizable games. So we've got 300 for the men. For the ladies, it's 250 and above, which we have, 3 ladies right now on that board. We're about halfway through the bowling season. And we also have a youth board that has a bunch of youth on it. And yeah, her name's up there on that board for that 268.
Now, with the ladies, of course, bowling for Eastmont, they bowl on the road too. Is that only if they do that here at Eastmont Lanes that they get up on the board, or?
You know, it really comes down to what it is. I mean, if I hear of a girl that went to state and bowled a 300, I'm going to put up on the board.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that deserves to be up there.
Recognition for sure.
Yeah, you know, you want that positive value. You want that accomplishment up there for everyone to see. Generally, yeah, it's what gets done in this house, and we don't just do it for our locals. I had a gentleman bowl 300 at a tournament last year in this house. Hardly ever bowls in this house, but he got his name on board.
That's cool. I like that. By the way, both teams heating up right now.
Oh, yeah.
As we see another strike here from Kyla Hankins. I'll point it out here, Paul. Both teams clean in that second frame.
Yeah, and the strikes are starting to become plenty here because Riley just throws a strike.
Riley Cox follows up her spare in the second with a strike here in the third. Emily Groth will see if she can follow with the feeling that's happening right here on the lanes.
That's pretty close.
Brooklyn. Ooh, almost got it. Going to be a tough 9 or single pin, that 10 pin to pick that one up. Dalen Thomas, meanwhile, giving her ball an extra spin. Trying it off just a little bit, finding the right spot there as she gets ready to roll here in the third frame. Sounded like that ball hung a little bit on her thumb.
Just a little bit.
Hannah Johnson working on a couple of strikes, waiting on next after Emily Groth tries to pick up this 10 pin. Hang on there. Not going to do it. For me, that's the one. That's the 10. The 10 pin by itself, it could be the size of a tack.
Yep.
It may as well be, because I can never get that 10 pin by itself.
Nice,
and a nice pick up there by Dalen Thomas. A couple of spares in a row for her. Here comes Hannah Johnson in the pocket.
Ooh. Just couldn't cover that 10, but.
Strike 9 for Hannah Johnson.
Yeah,
early
that 10
going
pin.
here.
Man, that's
and I'm sure it's way more mental.
Oh no, it's just everything. You just nobody likes it.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
Now my brother was left-handed, so he's like, "Yeah, give me the 10 anytime." Oh, nice try, but an open frame for Hannah Johnson. Meanwhile, 9 in the first roll for Alicia Hastings, who comes back and grabs a different ball. And you'll have that too, won't you? You'll have your first ball and then your pickup ball.
Oh yes, or you'll have 2 different strike balls. You know, the balls. Some of the balls are made to do different things on the lanes. So if you find that one's not working just how you like it to finish, you can always switch to the other one.
Oh.
Maybe a little aggressive, maybe a little lighter. But yeah, spare ball, absolutely. It's part of the necessary equipment when bowling. Got to have that spare ball.
Jessica Holbrook trying to get herself a spare here. Started it way off right, but that ball for her always curls over. And she played it perfectly for the spare for Wenatchee. So she's clean through 3. Nice game so far. Meanwhile, here's Emily Montoya with the strike. So Emily off to a hot start here with a couple of strikes and a spare. Now Taylor Bitterman working off a spare in the second. Taylor's one you just expect her to heat up all of a sudden, too. Oh, split there for Taylor.
Still struggling with the lane a little bit.
Yep. That left side bothers her, seems more than the right side.
Same with Becca, though.
8 for Becca. Well, she's been consistent. 8, 8, 8. She's picked up a couple of spares so far here in this second game. Meanwhile, Taylor with the challenge. Can she get that 1 pin to scoot over into the 10 pin?
Hung up a little bit on the right at release.
So an open frame for Taylor Bitterman. Meanwhile, Becca Main's trying to pick up her spare. Does nicely.
So as it's shaping up through 3 frames, it's still a really close match. There's about a 30-pin difference in the points. But you got that triple strike by Kyla right now, which is really solidifying the lead for Wenatchee.
Kyla Hankins approaches, looking for her 4th in a row, and almost, not quite. Looking Brooklyn was Riley Cox.
Leaving that 5 pin.
Riley working off a strike in the 3rd. Kyla Hankins, meanwhile, wants to clean this one up. Nice pickup for Kyla Hankins, who stays clean through 4. And the roll for Riley Cox. Nice pickup for her.
That should be automatic for her. She's had those 10 clean last game and hitting a 5 pin right there in the center, right where the ball should go almost every single time.
Starting out wide is Emily Groff. She's still trying to find the zone here for Wenatchee. Got 3 in her first ball.
Daylin up. She had a little miscue in the first frame, left it open, but she's got 2 spares. Looking for
Brooklyn.
Possibly.
She got 9.
Not quite.
That's what's fun when you get these, both teams playing with 2 freshmen right now. As Emily only able to get a single pin on her second ball. So it's a little bit of a struggle for Emily Groff. But getting these freshmen up here, and I don't know how long, for example, Daylin Thomas has been rolling.
Daylin's been bowling since she was like 5.
Okay.
She's been bowling a long time.
But you get them in this kind of competition, high school competition, on the varsity. They don't know what they don't know.
Right, exactly.
And so it's like, hey, let's go have some fun.
Well, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
It should be about having fun, smiling, having a good time with your friends. There is definitely some competition. There's definitely, all these girls want to win for their team. But in all honesty, they're all friends. They all deal with each other every single day, practices every day. They go to schools together.
Alicia Hastings followed her open frame in the 3rd with a strike here in the 4th. A spare for Hannah Johnson. Jessica Holbrook now stepping up for Wenatchee High School. She's working on a couple of 9 spares. 8 on the first ball here. Meanwhile, Emily Montoya, strike, 9 spare and strike, and...
Oh, yeah.
Oh! Is that the 5 that just didn't quite scoot enough there?
No, I think it was just the ball came in just a little bit shallow when it hit the pocket, so it wasn't quite driving the way it should. But if you notice the way that Emma bowls, every single throw is the same.
Right.
I mean, it's like a mirror image of itself every single time she gets up there. Release is the same, body English is the same. The way her leg comes out and goes straight, that's just all about supporting the body and being balanced. Balance is very important.
Such a soft delivery, too. I mean, you don't even hear that ball ever leave her hand.
Yep.
6 in the first ball for Taylor Bitterman after Jessica Holbrook could not get her spare. here in the fourth. So a little stumble for Wenatchee, giving Eastmont a chance to extend a lead here. Becca Maines with a strike.
Wow.
And Becca, after 8-8-8 and spares through the first three, found the right side of the pocket here and is able to knock them all down in the fourth. Taylor Bitterman, just one pin on her second roll. So we are through four, heading to the fifth frame here in the second game after Eastmont took the opener by 60 pins, 783 to 723, finding themselves in the lead here in game two. Kyla Hankins just did not get any luck there. So 8 for Kyla. And here comes Riley Cox working off a 9 spare. And a little bit of work here for her spare coming up in the fifth.
Not much leeway on the points right now, but if you look up on the marks, that's where you'll start to see a big difference here as we come around the corner and finish up the fifth frame.
She's got to split this right down the middle. And
so close,
but not quite. So 8-1 for Kyla Hankins and 7-1 for Riley Cox. So both leadoff bowlers here for both teams open in the fifth. And that has a tendency to open the door. So Emily Groff for Wenatchee. Try to go Brooklyn here. A little bit too much. Got 7. Daylin Thomas now for Eastmont.
It's a good ball. Oh
man. My. Split
it
for
looked
Daylin.
really good.
It did. Emily trying to pick it up and just a little bit too far out of the pocket there.
Her ball is moving a lot.
It is. It is. Daylin Thomas, meanwhile, just gets 1 pin on her second ball here in the fifth.
Those wide splits, sometimes that's all you can do is just try to get the most you can.
Right.
Move on.
Hannah Johnson with the ball here in the fifth for Wenatchee. Looks good. Wow. It is. It's her third strike here in this fifth game, or in this second game. Fifth frame, and Alicia Hastings gets a little help on a kiss on a spinning pin.
We'll answer back.
Yes. And now Jessica Holbrook.
That looks like that'll hold.
There we go. Oh. You can use all of the geometry in the world, come up with the mathematical equation, and bowling pins are still going to do what they're going to do.
Oh, yeah. And some things you wouldn't think they could do.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Good roll and a nice pickup there for Jessica Holbrook. Gets her spare.
You know, I think this has been my fourth, maybe fifth, on TV where we've had these two teams play against each other. And I've yet to see a pin during a telecast stand back up after it's gone down, and it has happened.
Really?
I've seen it happen several times. I just wish we could get it recorded. That would be really nice.
Well, we still got plenty of bowls to go here, so you
really
never
nice
know.
to see one.
Taylor Bitterman with a nice strike there. And that was a good answer for her individually. Becca Maines, meanwhile, with her first ball here in the fifth.
Oh, she found the pocket.
Yeah. She's
like, I hit the pocket.
I hit the pocket. That's right where I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
And sometimes that 5 pin, it just seems to hide. So one more ball here for Becca Maines as we're in the fifth frame of the second game. You just want to do exactly what you did in the first. Oh,
yep.
She got it.
We were talking about that advantage thing. Really didn't pan out too well for Eastmont in the last frame.
Nope.
Kind of just kept things moving. But now all of a sudden, looks like Wenatchee's starting to heat back up a little bit.
First ball here for
Oh,
Riley
that's a
Cox.
nice
It's a
ball.
beautiful strike for Riley. Her second strike here in her game as we're in the 6th, and here comes
Kyla's going to answer back.
Kyla Hankins.
Oh, man.
A wiggle, but nothing.
Wow.
9 for Kyla. So the pin goes down, pops back up. It's still a pin remaining.
Oh,
right?
yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely.
I imagine you see that on the first ball more than you'd see that any other time.
Yeah. It usually happens on a really sharp hit. Sometimes you'll have a pin come across and hit it. I've actually seen it where a pin will hit it, but another pin is laying down, and that pin will scoop
Oh, sure.
the second pin right back up because of the way the shape of the angle of the pins. It's totally possible. Doesn't happen that often, but it does happen.
Alicia Hastings.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
Wow.
7-6
The big
split.
bedpost. Man.
That was after a couple of strikes by her teammates, Riley Cox and Daylin Thomas. Emily Groth, meanwhile, trying to work her game out. That one's looking good. Oh, it just cut right there the last second.
And her ball moves so much
It
on the
does.
back end.
Alicia Hastings
She's
just trying to
gonna
get
take
something.
one of them.
Open frame for Alicia Hastings after a couple of strikes in the 4th and 5th. As we continue here in the 6th, Emily Groth going to try to pick up that one remaining pin. Meanwhile, down on the JV lanes, we've got a pin that came clear out into the alley, so they had to run down and take care of that. Open frame, meanwhile, for Emily. A little high on the head pin there for Emily Montoya. She picks up 8. Hannah Johnson, meanwhile, for Wenatchee.
Bowling
her
pretty
ball.
good this game.
In the 6th.
Here she
and
comes again.
Oh,
Oh, almost.
thought she was going to get a little domino effect there. I think she had the open frame in the 3rd, and that's it for Hannah Johnson. 3 strikes. Spare back in the 4th. And Montoya trying to get the ball to kiss and go, but she got the kiss, but it didn't go. So she gets 1 on her second ball. And a nice pickup there in the spare for Hannah Johnson. So Hannah's been clean through 3 in a row here. And next up is Becca Maines. Becca's been clean here in this one. And 6 in her first ball. Jessica Holbrook, meanwhile, gets 9 in her first ball for Wenatchee. Becca Maines, meanwhile, trying to stay clean here. She's been clean through 5. This is a tough pickup. See how she does.
Just going to drive it right down, let the ball take control.
Oh, a little light.
Just missed it.
And so finally an open frame for Becca Maines, who had a nice game up to that point and still plenty to go here. And a nice pickup there for Jessica Holbrook. And it looks like we're going to get a substitution here as Paul's trying to get the attention of Jeff Levitz, the head coach for Wenatchee. See if we can get a little help on who the substitution will be. I'm going to turn your mic off while you find that out there, Paul. Taylor Bitterman, meanwhile, step up here for Wenatchee and gets 8 in her first ball. Taylor with 1 more, working off a strike in the 5th. And Taylor finding her spot on the lane, spot with her toe on the board she wants to pick up the 2 remaining here, and started it a little bit too far right and ends up coming open here in the 6th. So here we go to the 7th, and it stands right now as a 9-pin differential with Eastmont on top.
Good ball.
Beautiful ball for Kyla Hankins. Finds the pocket gorgeously here in the lane number 7.
We got a substitution for Emily Roth. Groth coming in. Maddie Burrell.
Okay.
coming in.
Maddie picks up 6 in her first ball for Wenatchee. Riley Cox, meanwhile, trying to pick up her spare after 9 in the first, and she does. Riley been very consistent here this afternoon at Eastmont Lanes.
That's a really smart move that the Wenatchee coach just made, because if you look at the overall for the 6th frame for Eastmont, they had 3 girls right in a row, the last 3 open. So we're neck and neck right now as we speak. With the change, maybe that'll help push Wenatchee into a win for the second game.
Daylin Thomas, meanwhile, we talked about that move for Eastmont in the first game. Bringing her in, Hannah Johnson, meanwhile, strikes for Wenatchee. Daylin Thomas probably was the difference in that first game, really.
Oh, yeah.
Because she came in as a replacement, 3 strikes and a spare. That's a lot of pins right there.
It is. It's a lot of pins, and just adding to that total, you know, you could say that it could have been Riley with her clean game that she had with the 195, but the rest of these girls were right where they should be. There was nobody really shining, as they say, to get a lot of strikes, but when you're just fighting and scraping to get spares.
Well, and here we go with this ebb and flow again. Wenatchee with 3 strikes here in the 7th frame. Alicia Hastings picks up 5 in her first ball. And Taylor Bitterman will try to wrap up a very nice frame here for Wenatchee as a team.
Hung up just a
Hung
little
up
bit.
a little bit.
Not
And,
quite get back.
On that one for Taylor Bitterman. That's just a couple of times now we've seen that ball kind of stick on her thumb a little bit.
But all of a sudden, you know, you're seeing the shift back and forth this whole time. We're just getting done with the 7th frame, and you're starting to see that shift come back over to Wenatchee as they make that change. I think it's a smart change.
Open for Alicia Hastings, got 4 of the 5 remaining here in the 7th. Emily Montoya will come up next after Taylor Bitterman wraps up her 7th frame for Wenatchee High School. Taylor struck in the 5th, open in the 6th. Looking for a tough but makeable spare. Well, she'll only get 2 here.
It's pretty close.
So 2 more bowlers for Eastmont to wrap up this 7th. Emily Montoya.
Oh, just a little bit high.
A little help to stay away from the split there. Emily with 2 pins to pick up here to finish up her 7th. Our broadcast today brought to you in part by Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Take a walk on the wild side. Also by the Wenatchee Racket and Athletic Club. Appreciate you joining us on the NCW Life channel along with Paul Paiva. I'm Eric Granstrom. On your broadcast today, we've got Dan Kuntz, our line producer, as well as our cameraman and chief cook and bottle washer here today as well. And a nice spare for Emily Montoya.
Helping out her team, keeping that team alive. They've got 3 out of their 4 spared frames, clean frames so far.
So Becca Maines was clean until the 6th. Let's see if she can bounce back here with this ball here in the 7th.
And sometimes that's all you need, just a little tension breaker.
Yeah.
Get you back on site. Little hot. Oh, going Brooklyn.
Well, she got 9.
You know, as the numbers stand, there's 1 pin difference right now. 1 pin difference.
And that's where we were last game, too. I think we were 7th, 8th frame, and it was like, okay, hardly any difference between the 2 teams. Becca Maines, meanwhile, might have a problem with her thumb here. She's asking for a little water, maybe to clean off her thumb. So felt something. We saw her look down at her thumb after that release on the first ball here in the 7th.
Well, everybody's a little different. You know, you get something on your hand somewhere.
Right.
You start thinking about it rather than the bowling.
Right.
For me, it's those sandy type abrasion compounds you can get, give you grip, give you slip. I don't like having any of that on my hands because
Right.
it's one more thing I'm thinking about than whether or not I'm throwing the ball.
Sure. And like this with so many other sports, shooting a basketball and having that form that you have with every time and being able to replicate that jump shot every single time. In golf, having the same exact swing every single time as you approach.
Well, especially when it's a 10-pin, because you've got to be just so right there on that spot.
Right. So a nice spare for Becca Maines after she addresses the issue with her thumb. And meanwhile, Riley Cox will cross over, head to the 7th lane here. And her first ball in the 8th. Almost able to get a Brooklyn out of it.
Kyla a little bit far out, but it looks like she held on to that one for a little bit longer, leaving a 10-pin also.
Yeah, we are 1 pin differential.
Yep.
Working on marks as well. Here comes Riley Cox with the pickup. So Riley, a couple of spares in a row here, working off a strike in the 6th. Kyla Hankins.
She needs to answer back.
And she does. Nice ball for Kyla. A couple of spares and a strike her last 3 frames. Back and forth we go. Heavyweight challenge here between the two. Nobody's blinked so far. And a little help, almost, for Daylin Thomas.
Maddie stepping up.
And again, a substitute ball here, Maddie Burrill, with a 7 count in her first ball. Daylin Thomas looking for the pickup. The freshman.
Stay there.
I don't think so. Nope, not going to happen this time around.
Man.
And an open for Wenatchee.
Both these clubs knowing that every single ball is going to count for something because we're coming down to the wire here.
Alicia Hastings. So much power. There it is. Strike for Alicia. 4 strikes in this game for Alicia Hastings. She's now through 8. Oh, I thought she was going to get some help there. That 10-pin wiggled several times. It will not fall for Hannah Johnson, however. So it looks like she'll possibly go open here in the 8th. Meanwhile, Emily Montoya surveying the situation for Eastmont. And she'll wait and see what Hannah Johnson's able to do on this final ball in the 8th.
It's close.
That's a nice idea, but not able to execute. So she's open here in the 8th. Montoya.
Emma a little inside on that one.
Oh, look at those pins. Look at the action. And they all fall down for Emily Montoya. Strike and spare, last 2 for Emily. Here comes Jessica Holbrook. Oh, I thought she might have had the answer there, but 9 for Jessica. And Becca Maines working off a spare in the 7th.
Covered. Oh.
Nice pickup for
another fight
Jessica
to the end.
Holbrook,
We've got a difference of about 21 pins right now.
That's incredible.
Uh-oh.
Hang on. No. And that opens the door. Now we'll see what Taylor Bitterman's able to do with her ball here in the 8th.
It's got to make her feel good.
Wow. Going Brooklyn. Oh, that pin slid just behind. 9 for Taylor. I would say I was a soothsayer there, Paul, but I had written a 9 down inadvertently in Taylor's column before she actually threw that ball. See if she can pick it up.
Yes, she
and
does.
A nice job. And so as we head to the 9th frame,
boy, oh boy,
we're at 7-pin differential.
That is rough.
Between the two teams. Incredibly tight again. Kyla Hankins with her first ball in the ninth. The setup frame and a strike for Kyla Hankins, putting the pressure on Eastmont.
Here comes that magic frame again.
Riley.
Ninth frame. You got to start setting up for your 10th.
Riley Cox, see if she can answer.
Oh, so close.
9 for Riley. Here comes Maddie Burrill. And a
There's
strike
a
for
strike.
her. That's her first strike since coming on in relief. Riley got to pick this up here. Hannah Johnson waiting for her chance here in the ninth for Wenatchee. She will roll. Starts it out wide. Is it going to come back? It did.
Oh.
9 for Hannah. Pick up attempt for Riley Cox.
Nice.
Able to cover.
She has just been so reliable today.
Yeah, just consistent. Consistent all the way through. She was clean through the first game today with a 195. And she's got one open frame in this one, the first one. And like you said, Paul, well, you got a long game to go. Just put it beside you.
Yep.
Hannah Johnson with a pickup for Wenatchee. The Panthers going to push this right to the max. Daylin Thomas with her first ball, good, and a strike for Daylin Thomas. Her second of this game. Jessica Holbrook now for Wenatchee. Approach. Good looking ball. Let's see if it cut high. Just a little bit too much.
Looked really good till about mid lane, and then it just took off.
Alicia Hastings with her first ball here in the ninth.
Oh, wow.
And a strike. What an answer for Eastmont after Wenatchee came out with 2 strikes in a row, a spare. And now is that going to hook?
One. Oh,
goodness. Man. Jessica. It catches for her on the first ball too much, and then won't catch on the second.
It's frustrating. And right now, you know, it's just so neck and neck between these two clubs.
Emily Montoya. We got the 2 Bakers still to come, and Emily with 9. She's been getting some help from the bowling gods here on some of these balls here in this game. Taylor Bitterman, a little high. 8 in her first ball. Boy, for Wenatchee, she really needs to pick up this spare here.
Yeah, really the only difference in this game right now is the double by Alicia.
Yep.
Otherwise, we'd have a tie game
Emily goes open. That was a big miss for Eastmont. Now let's see if Taylor can follow with a spare. Good looking ball. She got it. Wow. This really will come down to about a 2-pin differential.
It's
Becca
so
Maines to finish up the ninth for Eastmont. They went spare, strike, and an open. Here's Becca Maines. And look at that. Ball. The answer. Wow. So here we go to the 10th. And Eastmont right now with a 14-pin lead with marks heading into the 10th.
Yeah, and the marks really, the only difference in the marks is that double by Alicia. Everything else cancels each other out on either side. So it's going to come down to how they perform in the 10th frame and see if somebody can scratch out a win.
Riley with an 8, and here's a strike for Kyla Hankins. 2 strikes in a row. Got to go all the way back to the 5th for Kyla to have an open frame. That's her only open frame in this entire game.
Wow.
What a game for Kyla Hankins for Wenatchee. Meanwhile, Riley Cox, tough pickup here in the 10th.
Should be there.
Got it.
It is.
Wow, there's a key pickup for her. Meanwhile, another ball and almost a strike for Kyla Hankins. She got a 9. Riley Cox with one more ball here in the 10th. Kyla Hankins eyeing that 10-pin. And she got it.
Wow.
She knew. She turned away from the lane before it even happened.
And that's a silent killer right there because she just punched out.
215 for Kyla Hankins. 6, meanwhile, for Riley Cox in her final ball.
You know, she did that so quietly, too.
Yes, and a 163 for Riley Cox. And a strike to start out for Maddie Burrill.
Wow.
You talk about that replacement now, Paul. 2 strikes in a row. Wow.
I'm pretty sure I said it was
You
a
did.
smart move.
You did.
Making that adjustment right there when they needed to. It was a perfect spot to do it.
So now
And it worked out great. It
East
worked
Mont
out for both clubs to do a substitute.
looking to the freshman, Daylin Thomas with a 3. But she picked up a 3 spare earlier, just 3 frames ago. Meanwhile, off the head pin, trying to go Brooklyn that time, was Maddie Burrill, and she got 7. That's a tough make, but you can make that.
You know, looking at the numbers right now, Wenatchee has about a 30-pin lead, but I'm still staring at that double by Alicia. They can really quickly get that back.
Yep. Here's the ball.
It's close.
For Burrill. Got 2 of the 3. Heck of a job. So between she and Emily Groff.
Oh, nice try for Daylin.
Daylin got almost all of them. Got 6. And so Daylin
I think this is going to be the key throw right here.
for Alicia Hastings.
Yeah, this is the decisive move.
Hannah
Or
Johnson
the
with a
decisive
7.
play right here in the second game. She doesn't have to get a strike. She does have to get a good count.
Alicia Hastings stuck on her, going Brooklyn.
That's
she
a good
gets
count.
9.
That's a good count.
9
It's going to bring
for
them right
Alicia
back
Hastings.
into that game. It's so close right now.
So the combined score for Emily and Maddie was 121.
Uh-huh.
Daylin
Daylin's
Thomas
140.
140. And Alicia Hastings
Alicia
trying to pick up the spare. She got it. And that could be, as you mentioned, Paul, that could be the difference in the game right there.
Oh, that is right there.
Hannah Johnson got her spare. Now her final ball at the 10th. 7.
It's all right. It's a good way to finish out with a 177 for Hannah Johnson.
It was a good game for Hannah Johnson. Alicia Hastings got a good game going for herself. Trying to wrap it up here in the 10th.
Oh,
got 8. So Alicia Hastings with a 169.
And there is 7 pins difference right now between these two clubs.
2 bowlers left for both. Jessica Holbrook. And is it going to happen?
Yes,
it does. Wow. You talk about hanging by a hair. Jessica was open in the 9th, so a big strike here in the 10th. Emily Montoya stepping up.
Just needs to answer back.
Going Brooklyn. Got
9
9.
count.
That's a good count.
Both of these were on opens, so they're not as
Right.
detrimental
Right.
as, say, like the double or the strike that Becca has coming up.
Jessica Holbrook, second ball here in the 10th.
But if Jessica can turn 3 strikes.
Look at that. Look.
Wow.
Jessica stepping up. Emily Montoya looking for the spare.
Got to have it.
And she does. Back and forth we go. I'm telling you.
It is.
This is something else to watch. Jessica Holbrook trying to strike out here in the 10th. Deathly quiet at Eastbourne Lanes. Looking good.
Right there. Oh, so close.
Goodness. But what a finish
What
for
a
Jessica
finish.
Holbrook. For the Wenatchee Panthers, a 179.
It's going to put them up by 20-some, but we got this ball here.
Oh, look at that. And an answer for Emily Montoya.
And right now,
172.
a 15-pin difference. Spare for Taylor and a strike in the 9th for Becca. So this isn't over yet.
It's not. How about this? It'll be Taylor Bitterman going first for Wenatchee.
Really seal it up with a strike, though.
Oh, got 8.
Becca needs to answer back.
She didn't wait at all. She wanted to go.
Oh,
and she
there's
got it big time.
Wow.
That was a big
really
ball.
high in the pocket, but it covered.
Taylor Bitterman trying to pick it up. She does.
She
Nice
does.
pickup.
Still not over.
8:02.
To 8:15.
Goodness. Becca Mays, second ball in the 10th.
Coming up high.
No,
She covered
look
again.
at this. What an answer.
Okay, so in order to, wow. Yeah,
Taylor Bitterman.
Eastmont just stole this game.
I think they just did. 7 pins on the board. Still the marks for Becca with the strikes. Taylor Bitterman, one more ball.
It's good.
She
Oh,
did not get the
9.
kiss off the wall. She got 9. Taylor Bitterman with a 132. Becca Mains,
It's all
7.
good. Taking the win, Eastmont by 5.
185 for Becca Mains. 829 to 824. Goodness gracious, you can't get much closer than that. We're going to take a quick break. We've got a couple of bakers coming up next here at Eastmont Lanes. Eastmont, Wenatchee. You're watching bowling here on the NCW Life Channel. We'll be right back. Well, this has certainly been an exciting game so far here today between Eastmont and Wenatchee, with the Wildcats taking the first one by 20 pins, 783 to 723. But 5 pins? Are you kidding me, Paul?
That's the way it goes in bowling, you know. Nothing is more fun to me than scratching out a win and coming from behind and winning it for your team.
829 to 824, the score with Eastmont taking the second game. So it's up 2-0, but now we got the Bakers. You just never know what's going to happen in the Bakers. And the first ball by Riley Cox is 8. It'll be Riley Cox. Sky Wilson comes back on the varsity here. Meanwhile, it is Hannah Johnson getting the first ball for Wenatchee, and she strikes.
And this is going to go real quick. This is just basically they're on their own. Wenatchee is going to be on lane 7. Or, sorry, Eastmont's going to be on lane 7. Wenatchee's going to be on lane 8. They're going to bowl a whole 10 frames. Each bowler getting 2 times to get up there to throw. They got to make quick decisions and come out with a win. Highest score is going to win. And then they're going to switch lanes. And Wenatchee's going to be on 7. Eastmont's going to be on 8 for the second.
And how about that for Sky Wilson? She comes back joining the varsity here. And I think this is Maddie Burrell, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Maddie Burrell.
That's Maddie. So Maddie is the second bowler for Wenatchee, and she goes 7 and open, right? So I think Kyla will be the next bowler for Wenatchee. Meanwhile, Alicia Hastings
with
gets
an 8 count.
So spare for Eastmont, strike, and now 8 working. And how about that strike for Kyla?
Well, she showed that she can handle the leadoff spot, so they put her towards the end. See if they can conquer and take over this 2 losses that they had in the Bakers, or make it up in the Bakers.
Alicia Hastings with a spare, so Eastmont off to a good start here. And meanwhile, the ball for Jessica Holbrook goes Brooklyn, and a strike. So 3 strikes for Wenatchee. In the first frame, Emily Montoya now, the 4th bowler for Eastmont. Gonna go try to Brooklyn. She does.
Ooh, almost covers it.
And 9.
Both teams starting off really, really well.
Taylor Bitterman.
A little wide on that. 7 count.
Oh, and I just mixed this up, didn't I? So 8 spare, and then 9, and then 7 open.
Very important they get their spares. Emily stepping up for that
7.
10 pin.
And
Should
she got
get it, yes.
Emily Montoya. So that's how quick this goes. That's the 4th frame of this game in the Baker. And Taylor Bitterman in the 5th for Wenatchee with a spare.
Nice cover by Taylor.
Becca Mains, meanwhile, in the 5th. for the Baker for Eastmont. And it is a strike. Wow.
She's just going to stay there.
Incredible.
That's where she threw her last couple ones when she finished that last game.
Now back to the top of the order, if you will. And
wow.
Just no luck there for Hannah Johnson. That looked really good. A 9 in the 6th for Wenatchee. Riley Cox in the 6th. Starts it out wide, comes back. It's 8th. Hannah Johnson, meanwhile, going to try to finish things up here in this 6th frame of the Baker for Wenatchee. Just a little too wide. Again, the match could come down to pin counts, pending the Bakers. And a spare there for Riley Cox.
Eastmont right now with the advantage. They're all clean.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely. Meanwhile, it is Maddie Burrill with an 8. Oh, and a
spoke too
tough
soon.
Split there for Sky.
Not the toughest one. If she plays this right, she can pick this up.
Maddie Burrill looking for the pickup here, and she got it. Nice spare. Just one Wenatchee could certainly use it as Sky is looking possibly in an open frame. Coming back on that ball.
So close.
Got 2 of the remaining pins. Here comes.
It's going to really square up the matchup here.
Kyla. 7 for Kyla.
Difference of about 6 pins.
Alicia Hastings here in the 8th for Eastmont. A little high on that head pin. 8 pins knocked down for Alicia Hastings. Kyla Hankins trying to pick up the spare here in this first of 2 Bakers. And she does.
Nice cover.
Brings Wenatchee right back into it here. Alicia Hastings trying to pick up her spare. She does.
Oh, yeah.
As we go to the 9th, Jessica Holbrook for Wenatchee. Emily Montoya for Eastmont. Holbrook will roll first. These Bakers go really quickly. Holbrook, good start. A little high. Oh, and the split. Ouch. Emily Montoya with a chance to answer here for Eastmont. Looking good.
Nice.
She got it. Wow. That's the big difference in the match right now.
Right there.
Right there, that one ball. And just a single pin for Jessica Holbrook. Becca Maines struck back in the 5th.
She just got to throw a really nice ball here.
How about
Covers
a
well.
Brooklyn to start off the 10th? Eastmont's got this one in hand, so that will give Eastmont the match here today, no matter what happens in that second Baker. Taylor Bitterman. Oh, a split for her. Becca Maines has just really caught fire here for Eastmont. End of the second game, and now here in the Baker.
Another
and
high one.
Another strike.
Just
Goodness.
beautiful in the pocket.
Goodness. This is going to be one of the highest Bakers, I think, that we've seen for Eastmont. They've got just one open frame in this entire Baker. That's pretty incredible. And Taylor Bitterman just picks up a single pin because they know.
She puts one more in the pocket for a strike. It's going to be a 2-0-1. Little light.
Nope. Missed the pocket there, but she does get 7. And so a 198 to a 146 in the first Baker. And they will switch lanes and play the final Baker. We will take a quick break as we wait for the second Baker coming up. But Wenatchee is going to fall to Eastmont here in this first match between the Panthers and the Wildcats, as Eastmont took the first Baker and took the first 2 games. So no matter what happens here, but still bragging rights on the line. So we'll take a break and come back with the second Baker next on the NCW Life Channel. Well, here we come back for the second Baker to wrap it up here. Eastmont will win this match, so the Wildcats will improve to 6-0 in Big 9 play, 7-0 on the season. Wenatchee, its first blemish of the season comes here, but, well, this has been a fantastic match, no matter what.
You know, it's probably going to feel this way the next time they meet up, and I don't know where the finals are yet. They haven't really said that, told us yet, but I have a feeling that both of these clubs are going to be in the finals.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, isn't it the team that wins the district championship regular season hosts the postseason, I think. So
I believe that's how it goes.
That would make the district tournament right here as Hannah Johnson started things off for Wenatchee with a strike and a spare here and a cover for Riley Cox for Eastmont. As we go through the quick Baker format to the second frame. And it is Maddie.
Oh, nice
Burrill and a nice strike.
Sky Wilson on lane 8.
Good looking ball there for Sky, 9. And Kyla Hankins now for Wenatchee. They got 2 strikes so far.
Oh, just didn't want to finish. Looked really good till it got to the pocket.
That's just about every time I bowl.
This guy with the
nice finish.
Pickup.
Good cover for Sky Wilson. And meanwhile, Kyla got a lot of pins left over, but that's certainly something she can pick. Oh, just missed the head pin. Alicia Hastings. Oh, that one just hung for her. And it is Jessica Holbrook now for Wenatchee. 8. Alicia Hastings. That's a tough pickup. Let's see what she can do with this one. How about that?
There it is.
How about
little
that?
Kick out.
Beautiful. When you got it going well for you, it just seems to be contagious. And now the spare attempt and a nice cover there for Jessica Holbrook. Nice way for her to help the cause for Wenatchee. Emily Montoya.
Going Brooklyn, leaving that 5.
Taylor Bitterman now for Wenatchee trying to go Brooklyn. Oh, man, she had that pin spinning back there. I thought it was going to knock them all down. Emily Montoya with one more to pick up, but first Taylor Bitterman. It looks like she's going to go first, and she will, and she does.
Emily going for that 5 pin.
And a nice roll for Emily Montoya. Picks it up nicely. Becca Maines will finish up the first go-around for Eastmont, who have been clean. Spares through the first 4. Looks like Hannah Johnson, though, is going to go first here for Wenatchee to start the 6th. Brooklyn, wiggle, won't fall.
Little 5 pin.
Becca Maines, Brooklyn for her, picks up 8. That started out wide, but came back nicely for Hannah Johnson, so she picks up her spare in the 6th. Her day is now done. Becca Maines with a spare in the 5th. She'll get one more opportunity. Riley Cox next up for Eastmont, but first it's Maddie Burrill. Ooh, a little high on the head pin there, but got 8 here in the 7th. Both teams getting ready for a big tournament this weekend, and Paul, we were talking about this. We haven't talked about it on the air at all, but the Tower Classic, is that what it's called?
Oh, yes.
Over in Tacoma this weekend.
That's where they get to see all the other clubs, even the ones with outside of their district because we've got a couple of AAAs and we've got some really big clubs over there that we get to scout and see how they perform and maybe see, a lot of rising stars over on the coast. So that'll be nice.
Kyla Hankins with a 9. Meanwhile, a split for Riley Cox in her first ball here in the 6th for Eastmont. Yeah, good opportunity to get a great experience for the girls in that kind of tournament field, tournament action.
And the energy is so high there. It's completely, you can totally lose your focus on the lanes just by the crowd alone at that tournament.
Giant bowling alley. Tower lanes, is that where it's being played?
Yes.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful lanes over there.
Sky Wilson with a 7 here in the 7th for Eastmont. Meanwhile, Jessica Holbrook starts off the 9th for Wenatchee.
That's a good ball.
Strike. Nice shot for Jessica Holbrook. That'll take him to Taylor Bitterman for the wrap-up here for Wenatchee. Meanwhile, it's Alicia. No, who is it? Oh, we've got one more ball for Sky. Sorry about that.
Spare.
And a nice spare for Sky Wilson. So Sky came in here in the Baker round for Eastmont with a strike and a couple of spares in her 4 balls. Taylor Bitterman nearly getting a strike there. Just no luck. Kind of one of those days for Wenatchee. They had the opportunities and certainly pushed Eastmont to the brink. Alicia Hastings with a 9. Taylor Bitterman trying to get the spare here. She does nicely in the 10th, and so she'll get one more ball. Alicia Hastings looking at that 10 pin, picked it up nicely. Taylor Bitterman, one more to go for the senior for Wenatchee High School. See if she can get a strike. Oh, didn't happen. 6.
Good finish for Wenatchee, though, with a 173.
Very nice. Bounce back from that 146 in the first Baker. Emily Montoya, meanwhile, for Eastmont.
Going a Little Brook.
8. Trying to think of who we talked to in this post game here, Paul. Riley Cox with a good game. Good day today for Eastmont. I think Becca Maines really with that, how she kind of caught on fire there towards the end of the second game and really helped out a lot in these Bakers.
She really showed up as an anchor bowler.
Yeah, she did.
Struggled, but almost everybody did struggle at one point or another today. Right. But yeah, to come through in the end on the clutch in the 10th frame to win it for that last game, to scrape out that win, that's a big, big accomplishment. That's what most anchors look for. It isn't really the high scores. It's scraping out that win right at the end, just to shave off those points and get that win.
Becca Maines with a 7 in her first ball here in the 10th. JVs, of course, having their Bakers in lanes 9 and 10 here at Eastmont Lanes. Wonderful hosts, by the way. Thanks, Paul, and to the staff here for reserving us a spot, letting us bring the cameras in here. And a nice pickup there for Becca Maines, so she'll get one more ball.
It's always a pleasure to be here with you, Eric.
We'll come back and do this again. I think in January is the next time the two teams will meet, as Eastmont will be the home team.
And that's the last. That's one of the last few games before
districts.
Before districts.
Right.
So.
And it could come down to determining the district championship, regular season championship.
We would love
right
to see it happen.
Wouldn't that be fun? One more ball for Becca Maines here to wrap it up for Eastmont.
That high strike.
Look at that. And how about the Eastmont Wildcats?
They finish out the game. Wenatchee had a 173. East Wenatchee with a 163.
163. So Wenatchee does salvage 1 point here today. So 3-1 officially the final score. Is that right? I want to make sure I got that right.
We'd have to check on the totals, but I believe East Wenatchee had enough to take total points too.
Yeah. So Eastmont wins the match Wenatchee wins the final Baker, but a win for Eastmont, and they take over first place, sole possession of first place in the Big Nine standings. We will take a break and come back, and we'll talk to head coach Christy Bingy as well as one of her fine bowlers today. I mean, toss your hat in the air on who you talk to. We'll try to see if Becca Maines will join us on the postgame as well here at Eastmont High School as the ladies congratulate each other, and always good sportsmanship between Wenatchee and Eastmont in the battle of the Panthers and Wildcats, this time going the way of Eastmont. We'll come back with the postgame next on the NCW Live channel.
Welcome back once again here to Eastmont Lanes, and man, I'll tell you, I'm exhausted. I don't know how the coach and players are, but now talking with Wenatchee Panther coach Jeff, let's talk about this match. I mean, that second game, I haven't felt too much pressure like that before. How was it for you?
Well, it was tough, 5 pins, not much, that's just, a good pin count, maybe a mark here and there. So I'm really proud of how our girls battled back. We were down 60 pins or whatever it was. We came back and lost only by 5. I'm really proud of the character and just the intestinal fortitude our girls showed. And, I mean, that's a tough team over there. I mean, they're very likely could win the state title again, but we're right there with them. And it just shows our girls that that's where we're at. Just a little bit more, a couple more marks, and we're right there with them.
We're going to talk to Christy Bingy again coming up here on the postgame show. She told me something before we started here today, though, that she's absolutely confident, whether it's you guys or them, that state title's staying right here in Wenatchee Valley.
Well, that'd be great. It really would be. I'd love to keep it here. I'd like it to be, purple and gold. Yeah. Is what I'd like it to be. So I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Well, let's talk to Taylor Bitterman, senior for this club. Taylor, did you feel the pressure? I mean, it got so quiet in here in that second game. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I think everyone was just kind of exhausted, drained a little bit. I told everyone, try to pump them up, get them louder, but I think everyone was just really tired, but definitely felt the pressure.
Let's talk about the lanes here today. It looked like it took you guys a little bit to kind of get used to what was happening on 7 and 8.
Everyone really has different reaction, like with their ball. Right. So I think they weren't usual, the lanes.
Right.
But I mean, we adjusted and we did good for the most part, and that's all I care about.
Well, and the way you guys came back in that second game, that's going to give you a lot of confidence, not only individually but as a team too, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely. I love my team.
Yeah. Well, tough luck on the loss today, but I know you guys are going to bounce back, and we'll see you against Eastmont again here later on when we get to the new calendar year, okay?
Let's hope.
You bet. You bet. Taylor Bitterman and Jeff Levitz joining us here. We're going to take a break and come back and talk with the Eastmont contingent who came up with the victory today over Wenatchee at Eastmont Lanes. We'll do that right after this. Thanks for joining us here on the postgame show as we welcome in Christy Bingy, still undefeated. The Eastmont Lady Cats knocking off the Wenatchee Panthers. Boy, that was exciting today, especially that second game.
Very close. But you know what? 2 undefeated teams in the same valley. We kind of expected that it would be a really tight match today. And the great thing is that we know in the end the trophies are going to come to our valley. Yeah. So that's a really great thing.
That's huge, and we didn't talk about that before the game because I know you had things to concentrate on. But one thing that you mentioned, I mean, you're the defending state champs, Wenatchee the defending state champs the year before that. You guys really think that either way, that trophy is going to stay here?
Yeah, absolutely. It will be in this valley.
That's awesome. I love the confidence like that. Let's talk about that first game, and you brought in young Thomas as a replacement. You never know how the girls are going to roll, and you made a switch there, and boy, that switch really made a difference in that first game.
Yes, and each pair rolls a little bit differently than the other one, so it's a gamble. They may be bowling well on the pair that they were on, and then you'd switch them to a new pair, and it may not be. But she got lined up, and she did a good job. My player that was there just, I don't know if it was nerves or what, but she just couldn't get it together, but she went down there and got it together. So
Becca Maines, meanwhile, has a tough first game, and then she comes back in the clutch and just catches on fire there in the end of that second game.
absolutely, she did. That's a lot of pressure to put on your anchor person, you know, especially a young high school girl. That's a huge amount of pressure, and I'm very proud of her for what she did today.
And a little different, I think, for the girls. I mean, with so many people here, and obviously everybody's able to, you know, come to the game and such. But as many people that were here, it got awfully quiet when they would step up to roll in that second game especially.
Right. Wenatchee went up, and it was just like dead silence. It was like a tennis match. Yeah, I know that when I drove in today, I saw all these cars. It was like, oh my goodness, how are my kids going to feel when they come around the corner and see all these people here? And I had warned them, there will be a lot of people because our valley supports bowling, and it's a really great thing. Parents on both sides.
Well, we look forward to coming back here towards the end of the season, and who knows, that hopefully will determine the Big 9 regular season title and where the districts are going to be.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you very
You
much.
bet. Christy Binging joining us here on the postgame show. We're going to talk to Becca Maines as we continue here, right here from Eastmont Lanes, and wrap it up. But first, we want to talk to Becca about her day today at Eastmont Lanes. We'll do that right after this. We continue with the postgame show here on the NCW Life Channel, along with Becca Maines now. I'm Eric Granstrom, and Becca, you had a tough game in that first one, but talk about a rebound in that second game. Your day, that was quite the day for you.
I guess. Yeah, I was struggling there for a minute. I couldn't really find a tight line to bury it in the pocket for a minute, but it's okay. We all kind of got back up on our games on the second one. I don't know, it was kind of everybody was kind of down on the first game, and then everybody picked right back up on the second one. So I mean, that's all that matters. We're a team. Where we go up as a team, we come down as a team.
You guys get into that 10th frame of the second game, and it's like a 5-pin differential, 1-pin differential.
Yeah.
Have you felt pressure like that before?
No, I don't think so. It was definitely a different experience. Like, I could almost feel the weight of the room, but you know, it's almost like a motivation. Like, I know I have to hit my mark. I know I've got to throw it right, and it's just like, I know my team's back there and they're like rooting me on. So I mean, that's just kind of how it is. You know, your team's there. That's all that matters.
Well, congratulations on the win today for you guys and staying undefeated. And we'll see you here towards the end of the season, okay?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much.
You bet. Becca Maines joining us here on the postgame show. And that's going to wrap it up here from Eastmont Lanes as Eastmont gets the win today over Wenatchee in the first meeting. We'll see what happens again later on when we get to 2018. I'm Eric Granstrom. Thanks for joining us on the NCW Life Channel. For Paul Paiva and for our producer, engineer, chief cook, and bottle washer, Dan Kuntz. Thanks for joining us here at Eastmont Lanes. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for Wenatchee Panther Bowling on the NCW Life Channel. Today's broadcast was brought to you in part by the Wenatchee Racquet and Athletic Club, the Windmill Restaurant, Les Schwab Tires, Confluence Health, TC Slingers, and the Walkabout Grill. We now return you to our normal programming on your source for local sports, the NCW Life Channel.